88 Films.
All right, we're back. Another day, another Saturday. Good morning. Do the thing.
Top of the AM.
Let's go.
Good wake up.
What's up? Good morning. Hopefully you guys are up. It's early.
Get
I'm
your
not
day
up
started.
yet. I'm for sure not up yet. No, I'm kidding. I'm probably up already. Hopefully it was a busy week this week because we are in the past. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, a lot of people have been asking us stuff about the shop. So I feel like we could give you guys a quick rundown. But yeah, I mean, the shop's been doing decent, I would say. A lot of products still coming in, as always. A lot of trades going down, a lot of sales going down, vice versa. Huh?
A lot of new faces.
Yeah, a lot of new faces. It's cool. I feel like a lot of people have been coming in just based on coming to LA Chinatown.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when people like tourists look up Chinatown, what is there to do? I think one of the things that it shows now is there's a sneaker store in Chinatown. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, that's always pretty good. We're very attentive with the customer service. At least we try. I feel like everybody does a pretty good job at it.
Acknowledge everybody that walks in.
Yeah, talk to them, break it down. It's almost sounding like a broken record, but I feel like a lot of people appreciate that. Some people even get shocked when you talk to them.
Yeah, they're like, what?
They're like, what? But yeah, I mean, it's just keeping that level of, I don't want to say excellence, but just keeping it going, having a high standard of
Being consistent.
and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And I feel like everybody comes in here and they're all like, when you give them the whole rundown, it almost not makes them want to shop, but again, it gives them like, all right, cool. Like, I know like what I'm looking at, because it is intimidating when you come into a sneaker store and you just see sneakers everywhere. Because I see it all the time from the counter where people go to that one. In my head, I'm just like, they don't wear a 4 through 7.5.
Yeah.
So I'll send somebody over. I'm like, yo, bro, I literally just like go talk to them.
Nah, yeah, because sometimes I think they go to that wall first because it's like a little less intimidating because it's less stuff to look at first. So like, oh, let me see what's over here first. And also the counter's on this side.
So they stay away.
If we're over here, they're not like, oh shit, they're gonna be staring at me like crazy. Because sometimes you go into stores and people just give you the like, what are you doing here type eyes, and they don't say nothing. And
Yeah.
that shit's kind of nuts. But yeah, it's just letting people know like, hey, we know you're here. What's up? And also, we could talk to you.
And tell you what you're looking at.
Yeah. And yeah, because even coming down to like the shoes being wrapped, sometimes that intimidates people. Like, damn, like, am I not supposed to touch it? Or like,
Yeah, they probably think like, damn, these assholes don't want us to fucking touch their shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. And you just explain to them like, hey, like if there's a lot of food here, you don't
Mhm.
want to get the shoes dirty.
Facts. And then also, you could try stuff on. Just let us know. That's what we're here for.
A guy came in on Saturday and he ended up spending like $600.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because I ended up telling him like, yo, you can try on shoes. And then he was like, oh, bet. And I think he tried on like 3 things. He bought one of the gallery shirts too.
Nice.
But yeah, got a good little mix, cashed out. He said he just moved here. So he was just like, oh, I'm going to keep fucking with y'all. I was like, bet. Done deal. But yeah, we have a lot of patience too with customers. I feel like some of them do get a little overwhelming, but at the end of the day, we close at 7. The day's over,
Yeah, we're here, especially start the day, all the way to the end of the day. So nobody ever really comes in here, and they shouldn't feel rushed or anything, because at the end of the day, like, we're going to help you as long as you're in here.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of customers that apologize to us like on a 5-minute conversation 100 times. Like, oh, sorry for your time. And I'm like, bro,
That's what we're here for.
you have all day. Take your time.
Yeah.
Think about it.
It's like, if anything, you're helping us. The day's going by with you being in here. So it's better that we stay busy than we're just sitting here on our phones or doing nothing. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. I feel like it's been consistently busy, though, the last couple months, which is a good thing.
Even with the website.
Yeah.
Like the DMs and people understanding, like, they can hit us up before, like, doing anything. And, like, just saving people's time, it definitely makes them feel, like, appreciated, or even just responding to something that they might not have gotten that type of answer somewhere else, where it's like, okay.
No, yeah. Same thing. Even when people are first timers and they come and we pass on all their stuff, I give them the whole little breakdown of like what you can do, and they don't leave as mad or as disappointed as if you just be like, all right, later.
Yeah, just be like, oh, can't
I'm
take
like, yo,
it.
next time, bro, just hit us up. We'll make it easy. If it's brand new, we'll give you a quote. If it's not, we'll tell you we got to see it, but we'll give you at least yeah, we're going to take it for cash or credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we save a lot of time that because a customer did say that on Saturday. He was just like, oh shit, like he's just like, this is the first time because it was jam packed Saturday night, and he's like, oh, this is the first time that I see a lot of people here. He's like, I always trip out on that, and I'm like, a lot of our business is done DMs, so it's very like pick up, ship, blah blah blah.
Quick in and out.
So we save people the time and the convenience. So I think that's a big thing. And then he was just like, oh yeah, that is true because he's bought in stuff through us. And he's just like, yeah, every time I come in, and I'm like, yeah, bro, you just answered your own question. Like,
Yeah, and especially now with the pickup option on the website, with sometimes like especially on the weekends, parking not being as great here, people know, oh, I can park in like the red or the yellow
yeah,
real
come
quick,
in, yeah,
grab my item, get back out. I'm not gonna get a ticket, and I got what I needed.
yeah. So yeah, that's a big game changer, I would say.
Yeah, it's just like opening all the avenues.
Yeah, expanding, and I feel like a lot of people appreciate that, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you know, if you can save me time, one thing that I do personally is like, I try to not have wasted motion. Like, as in, like, if I don't have to do something, I'm not going to do it. Like, as in, like, sometimes I don't need to have a pointless conversation. Sometimes I don't need to have, like, oh, I'm going to go this way or I'm going to go that way. I actually learned that recently from fucking Alex Pereira, the UFC fighter.
Yeah.
I've been studying him low key, and I'm like, yo, this fool has no wasted motion. Like, everything he does is coming for. Obviously, people are like, oh, well, no shit, he has to fight. But if I was paying attention to him, I'm like, if he hits, it's not even a hard hit. It's just coming slow, and it's gonna hit you hard. And I started paying attention to all his moves. It's like he doesn't have a lot of movement, but when it does movement, it's gonna be hurtful or.
He tries to make it count.
Yeah, he tries to make it count. And in my head, I was just like, oh, if I fucking take that perspective into like my life, I think I'd have a lot more energy and a lot more like patience. Yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to waste motion. Like, same thing with playing NCAA or something. I'm just like, if I could just be home and doing nothing, and obviously I have to respond to personal DMs or DMs for something, I'm like, I'm doing my job, and I'm not wasting energy. Because I feel like a lot of people do a lot of things, like, let's say, go out, like, all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, fuck, that shit gets tiring, bro. Like, I've been there, done that. It's all the same thing. So now lately I've just been in the store. Or even same thing, just referencing shit. Or, like, literally going back and forth with Skinny about, like, ideas and stuff like that. I mean, it's cool. And then another thing I have been doing with like merch is also paying attention to the economy where it's cooked. So that's why I kind of slowed down with the merch, because I don't want to overwhelm people of like, fuck, I have to get every single merch, because there is people that buy everything. So I'm just like, all right, I got to slow down.
Yeah, and I think also people appreciate the like more than one item drop at one time. So it's like, especially people that buy stuff online. So
yeah,
like,
because of the
shipping. Shipping it more than once.
Yeah, so you get it all at once. But yeah, I think just kind of paying attention to that type of stuff. It's been cool. I've been trying to push more our logos, more than anything. Like, a lot of people are always like, "Oh, when's the next movie T coming?" Blah blah blah. And I'm just like, I kind of been staying away from it, because I was just like, I want to push like the museum and the establishment logo as much as possible. Obviously, we dropped this hat, which was good, but same thing. It's just like, I want to be able to have the establishment logo to be like its own, like, standalone logo where people are like, oh shit, like, that's as powerful as like a fucking team fitted, you know? Like, obviously we have a long ways to go from that, but that's like my end goal. Because at the end of the day, I could just fucking copy and paste something and slap our logo on the side and be like, oh, it's ours. But it's not, you know? Like, that's why I've been trying with like the museum. I think I'm going to do a drop in September, and it's gonna be our craziest museum drop ever. And same thing, it's just like, at the end of the day, like, you know, the hat, a lot of people hit us up about this hat, and they're like, it's shipping, and I'm like, brother, it's gonna ship next day or that day. And they trip out because, again, a lot of people take 4 or 5 days to ship or pre-order or vice versa, you know?
Yeah, one thing that I know that we sometimes don't think about, especially because we're just used to doing it, is how fast we are at doing things like that. And we're never like oh, if something needs to be done, oh, we'll do it later. We're doing it
Yeah.
now, or we're doing it as soon as we can, because I think we both appreciate like not our time's not being wasted, and we don't want to waste nobody else's time.
I also hate waiting for stuff, so I know how that feels, you know. So
Yeah.
I just like I'm like, bro, just ship and send it out. But yeah, no, like I think another thing with the store brand is that we believe in it
Mm-hmm.
and we wear it, and you know, I think some of our shit's better than some of like the designer or whatever's, you know. So I'm just like, I'm more into it. And same thing, like it's so hard. We were talking about that with the Sneaky Leak girls about like drops.
Yeah.
I'm like how like you're gonna have your initial drop and that is gonna be a major like support drop.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we support them, blah blah blah.
It's your first drop.
It's your first drop. Let's back it. It's
Mhm.
almost just people being like good friends in a way.
Yeah.
Your second drop is always the hardest because you still have to keep that person's like attention span for your next drop. And again, people forget. I told them I was just like, the camel and red hat was a complete dud.
The
The
Nightmare
first
one.
drop, like the first drop.
Yeah.
I think Sam from Death Club was the only one that like came in store and bought it. So shout out to him. But again, I wasn't like, fuck, it's over, blah, blah, blah. And I think even one of our homies made a comment and he was just like, damn, y'all ain't sell any? And I'm like, yeah, bro, like Supreme 8 doesn't, you know, there's shit that's meant to sit, you know?
Yeah. Not everything's
Like
supposed to be.
I didn't
sell out
take
right
it
when
as like, oh,
drops.
it's the end of the world. But again, to me, it's just like, damn, like you didn't have to make that rude ass comment. But whatever, you know, take it in the chin, keep it pushing.
Yeah.
But then, you know, we start doing the podcast and I wear that hat on the pod and a new audience that wants to
people.
listen to that pod was just like, yo, what fucking hat is that? Blah, blah, blah. And then we ended up just switching the logo to the store credit pod logo on the back. And that hat sold out instantly.
Yeah. Right
So-
when it dropped. That
Right,
shows.
right when it drops, it kind of just shows you that sometimes the algorithm isn't pushing the stuff. I don't want to say correctly, but it just didn't hit.
Yeah, and sometimes it's just a timing thing, like just like releasing it, or even like the following was definitely like a little like more when the podcast came out as opposed to when the had initially dropped.
Yeah. And again, that's the second drop. And
Mm-hmm.
I think with, at least for me, when somebody drops something, I want to know that they're going to be consistent because
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm going to support your first drop because I'm a good homie or vice versa. But is your second one going to be as good? Are you going to do a third one? Are you going to do a fourth one? Like, why? And now I think with people, they're like, oh, Syndicate's going to be there. So, you know, if they keep dropping shit, it's going to be like a brand that's always going to be there.
Yeah, because at the same time, people want to like continue to support that thing if they're actually into it also. Because if you're like a brand that just does a couple of drops, and no disrespect to anybody, but it's like, and you stop, sometimes it makes it seem like you didn't believe in yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard. You know,
Yeah.
building a brand is hard. That's why I always tell people, like, to me, it's like, oh, it's just merch that we play around with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's cool. Somebody had asked me, they're like, yo, why don't you drop every week? And I was just like, we can drop every week, like that's for sure. But I was just like, but again, the economy. I pay attention to like real life, and I'm just like, money's kind of dry out there, you know. So I'd rather wait a little bit and then, you know, let it marinate. And that's another thing that sucks. It's like, I feel like when you drop so much, you don't let certain things marinate.
Yeah, you got to give things its time to shine and let people see. Like even just having it around and people seeing us wear it when it drops, because we always wear the newest stuff when we get it and when it drops, or like even if we get it a little bit early right before it drops, just so people see it and it's already like, oh, okay, when's that coming out? Or they spark questions, because we even have it sometimes where like for our newer customers where we wear older pieces and they're just like,
When is that dropping?
yeah, when is that dropping? It's like, bro, this dropped 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it is interesting to see, but people pay attention to that, and it makes them seem like, oh, if they're wearing that now, that means it's something that's either just came out or it's about to come out.
Yeah. And that's why, again, going back to like
Yeah.
using the museum and the establishment logos, I want people to be like, all right, cool. Like, you know, that's like the brand, two logos that they're going to continue using. And it's going to, like, again, it's going to be a standout. Like, for example, the Fitted that I've been working on very closely, like whenever it drops, it's just going to be an establishment logo, but I want people to come in and buy it. Like if they would buy a fucking Yankees Fitted or vice versa, you know, like it's like, I that's the brand power that I want to be able to get to one day. And if I feel like if we're consistent, you know, if we reach for the stars, we'll get close, you know? I'm not saying
Yeah.
obviously the Yankees logo is like fucking legendary logo, but or even like a Dodger or any baseball team, you know?
Yeah.
But I want people to feel like, oh shit, like that's why I want the fucking Cindy fitted.
Yeah, it's like you see that logo and you immediately know that's Syndicate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because again, when we do movie tees and stuff like that, they're just, you know, obviously it's a lot of inspiration from the movie, no shit. But it's still like a whole different tee that I feel like it hasn't been put out there. It's not just like, oh, let me just switch the font to Syndicate.
Yeah, it's your play on the inspiration from whatever movie or
yeah,
or
and
what it
it's
is.
hard because, you know, like there's so many movies that I watch and I'm just like, it's hard to make. Some people always tell me like, do this, do that, and I'm just like, bro, like I just don't see that movie's. It's a great movie, but I
Yeah.
just don't see that translating into a T-shirt.
Yeah, and understanding that too, because not everything just because it's there, it could be put onto something like.
Yeah, like
doesn't mean it's gonna make
the
sense.
next tee we're doing is again. I'm just doing another movie tee because multiple DMs were like, "Yo, do a movie tee again." Like we like your movie tees. So I'm doing Fast and the Furious because, again, it's not just because of Fast and the Furious. A lot of people again that don't know, I fucking love Jake Gyllenhaal. But before Jake Gyllenhaal was Paul Walker. Like
Yeah.
I think that was a person that I saw and I was like, "Yo, this guy's sick." You know, cars, vans. You know, good movies.
Yeah.
So obviously he tragically passed, but to me, before Jake was Paul.
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, yeah, I got to do like a tribute tee. I actually like all of the Fast and Furious movies, even though the new ones suck. I still watch them because they're entertaining.
It's just funny to see how they're
Yeah.
gonna top like the last movie.
Yeah,
like,
to me, it's like, what are you gonna do that's
Yeah.
gonna top what you did last time? Like when they
Yeah.
went to space, I was like, all right, bro, like there's no fucking way Ludacris is in space, you
They're
know?
gonna they're gonna go
But-
to Mars next one.
But it's the same thing where I'm just like, all right, cool. How can I make this an original shirt that's never been put out there that Fast and the Furious didn't do when they did promo tees and stuff like that? So it goes. There's a lot of thought into it, I would say.
Yeah, it's not just like, oh, okay, I saw this. Let me take a picture of that.
Yeah, but
That's on the T-shirt now. It's like, oh, let's see how. This
I mean,
makes
yeah, but I
sense.
mean, and we could do that. There's certain designs where I look at it and I'm like, oh, I've seen this before, so that's why I don't run it. You know, like I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm just keep it. You know, it'll be in the vault. And then there's certain shirts that I make that I'm just like, I don't think this is a good shirt. So it's
Yeah.
again just like judging your own work, and I feel like I do that a lot. Like
Sometimes things are trial and error.
yeah, it takes trial and error, and like again, there's certain tees for us that I thought were cool that other people didn't think were cool, and I was just like, I think it's cool, so I'm gonna continue wearing it.
Yeah.
But I feel like now the audience for us is actually paying attention deeper, and they kind of see it, and to me, it's kind of sick to see.
No, for sure. Because even like the one that you're wearing, the Hello Tee, like you could have easily done like a typical logo on the back with that inspo, but it's a spin where it's like if you see, you're paying attention, you see what it is.
Well, the original tee is literally just that logo on the back.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, word.
That's like how we made it up.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's cool, but it makes it seem like, oh, I'm using Hello Kitty's likeness.
Yeah.
In
that's
a
why.
way.
Yeah.
So I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to do the same thing that I did with that old Vans logo when we did the ComplexCon stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm just going to put the museum logo on the front, which everybody loves. We haven't used one of these in a while. And then I'm going
Yeah.
to just put the other sick graphic in the back. And it's
Yeah.
like, both. Yes, it's obviously still a Hello Kitty tee in a way, but I was just like, you know what? I'd rather have our brand in the front than the other stuff in the back.
The back is the extra.
And I also like hit it with the stressing on the back, so it's just kind of like fading away.
Yeah. So it like looks like it's already worn in, even though it's
Yeah.
a brand new tee.
But yeah, so it's just like if there's a lot of trial and error when it comes to like when we make our shirts, where I'm just like, sometimes even Skinny will respond like, bro, you flipped that whole shirt inside out, like it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like he'll submit it.
and then
It'll
when
go
he sees
from
the finished
it'll go
product-
from me like thinking of it, sending him the idea. He'll mock it up. He says he makes like 14 things before.
Oh shit.
And then he'll send them to me, and then we'll pick and choose. And then he'll still submit the final work that I could send to our manufacturer.
Yeah.
But then I'll still tell my manufacturer, I'm like, yo, can you move this here? Do this. Like, for example, I don't have it, but the Fast and the Furious tee, it's not what I sent in. I took out certain little things, and I was like, all right, just don't print that on the shirt. And there was a lot of editing. And then I send it to Skinny when it's done, and he's just like, bro, that's not the shirt I submitted. But he's just like, but it does look a little better because you tweak certain things.
Because sometimes also it looks different on a piece of paper or like on a screen
Oh yeah, just
than
like
it does
yeah, it
on
does.
actual like piece of real material.
Yeah, so it's there's a lot to it. Even with the factory, like I always go in and check in, and I'm like, yo, can I see this? Can I see that? And sometimes I feel like I'm being annoying, but it's just like me being so hands on
Yeah.
with everything. Like
And-
even like with that hat,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are like, oh, well, what blank did you use? And I'm like, bro, the whole hat is
It's a
made
new
from
hat.
scratch.
Yeah.
And I get it. It's a fucking dad hat. It's not an original hat. Yes. But it's cool that everything is down to the T custom made. Even
Yeah.
the little logo inside with the
branding,
the branding
you're drawing.
inside,
Yes,
yeah.
it's hard.
Did you ever ask the people 5-panel or 6-panel?
they all want 5. So we're doing 5.
That's it.
5, yeah. 5 panel. And I get it because it has a clean look on the big patch, so there's no line going through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they'll like it. I already submitted another hat to them too, just to see if they can actually do it. This one is kind of cool. It's kind of funny. But yeah, again, even asking that to the people on TikTok, we're like, yo, like, which one do you guys like? There was a lot of for both, but I think 5 was a little bit more overwhelming. Even like on my Instagram, people were like, yo, just drop the 5.
Wait, that was on TikTok?
I did it on TikTok,
Yeah.
yeah. But then even on so people pay attention to that, and then they go DM me on Instagram because I'm more active on Instagram, and they're like, "Yo, do a 5 panel," and then I get it because the 6 has the line going through the middle, and then the
Yeah.
5 is just clean.
And it's a different type of embroidery.
Yeah. So I was
Yeah.
just like, all right, cool, we're doing 5.
No, it makes sense. And then even with that one, that like there's not really a hat that's been done like that yet.
No, yeah, I mean there is a lot of like F1 inspo, but same thing. It's just like,
I just
that's-
meant Cindy.
oh,
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
yeah.
So
That,
it's, like,
that's one
cute,
thing.
like,
Another
yeah.
thing too with Cindy, with the crazy hats. We're like this one and then the podium,
Yeah.
but then like I always just want to have an establishment or a museum in stock in store. If it sells on online, I'm sorry, but we do have them in store because I was getting annoyed when people were coming in before we did these drops.
Yeah.
Damn, you guys have no hats. And to
Yeah.
me, it wasn't like fuck, like damn, we have tees, but some people like it's like the goal was for a tourist to come here and be like, damn, I want a hat, like I want a
Yeah.
syndicate hat. And I think we're getting to that point where I always want to have it available where people are coming in and they're like, oh, it's going to be there. Even though it's sold out online, when you come visit the store, you're going to leave with a souvenir in a way.
Yeah, because somebody might not just want to come in for a pair of shoes or
Yeah,
even
they-
just a hat being a little bit more affordable than most shoes are. And it's like, again, like you said, like people come to town now and it's a trip. Like it's tight. It's fucking awesome that they come and, yo, I got to go to Sydney while I'm in LA.
Yeah. There's
Like-
a guys that came from Canada last week,
Yeah.
and same thing. All they came was for merch.
Yeah. Same thing yesterday. We had 3 dudes from New York and they all bought a hat
Yeah.
or like a tee. And that shit was tight because it's like, yeah, bro, like that's dope that like people come with this being one of their intentions of destination. Like, okay, I got to make sure I hit there. Because, bro, people are on vacation. They only have so much time to do certain things. You know what I mean? And us being where we're at, like, yeah, we're central to a lot of stuff. But I know, like,
But
a
it's
lot
also out of the way for a lot of stuff that they want to do.
yeah, because
Yeah.
a lot of people, when they hear LA and they're traveling, they think Hollywood or like
Melrose.
that Melrose, that type of stuff. They don't think, like, oh, Chinatown, even though downtown's central. But it's with traffic, it really could not be.
Yeah, with
yeah.
traffic here, it's bad. And again, people are impatient.
Yeah.
Like same thing. Everybody's like, "There's no parking," and I'm like, "Bro, just go that way." But they don't know that. They don't know
Yeah.
that there's the roundabout that you could just go
Facts.
park for free. But we always tell them the whole thing. And again, they appreciate you taking those 2 minutes to talk
Yeah.
to them and tell them that they're gonna be like, "All right, cool. Now I know where to park."
Yeah, or even the loading zone.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I'll
in
be
the-
like, yeah. And I even tell them like, "Yo, most of these places are pickups,
Yeah.
so you could literally just park in the loading and wait for somebody to pop out."
Yeah, just give it a second.
Yeah, you wait like 5 minutes, you're gonna find a parking spot.
Yeah.
There's always movement here, which is good. But yeah, I mean, same thing. Like, I think that's like a very important thing is the branding, where I'm just like, what's next? But same thing again. We did good on the hats this weekend, and I'm already like hitting up Skinny. I'm like, yo, we got to do this, do that, blah blah blah. And I'm probably annoying, but it's the way it has to be.
Yeah, and it's also like understanding, like, okay, just because like this is looked at as like, okay, this drop did great. It's always like it. Not that you don't care, but it's like it's on to the next because it never stops. Like it's
Yeah, you
always a
can't.
constant motion.
And again, we're not like a brand standalone. We're using that money to give it back out to the community, and I think people always forget that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we sold out our hats, bet, boom, we buy more shoes. So it's never like in our pocket in reality. It's more
Everything gets
yeah.
cycled.
It's just as long as we keep doing this, I'm happy. That's all that matters. As long as it never like stops and it just continues turning, I'm like, all right, bet. Because you just build a consistent job.
Yeah, that's all it is. And we build a consistent space for people to feel comfortable coming to and being able to do what they need to do too. Because that shit matters also. It's like you said, like Cindy's people, not just a place.
Yeah. And then the same thing like with the big museum hat drop. I literally told you like the idea of like I want to make so many hats that I want to fill up every inch of the store with hats and then just put available now. So we'll come in early. The whole staff will all be standing somewhere different, but there'll be hats literally like you're stepping on hats. The Bear Bricks will have hats.
Like
The fucking decks will have hats. Like I want to be able to tell people like, yo, I believe in myself that I printed all these hats already.
How many hats?
A good amount. Like where the store's literally going to be like covered.
like claustrophobic cover type.
Yeah,
what
like
the
we're gonna take them. And another thing is we're gonna take them all out, and then we're gonna put them back in the box and launch and ship out. That I think that would be fun. And again, it's just like believing in yourself. I would say it's gonna be a lot of hats. It's gonna be overwhelming. Where I'm gonna pay this, and I'm gonna be like, fuck. But it's gonna be worth it because I feel like we haven't. The last was Luke's, right? I think the last one.
Yeah, it was Luke's.
Yeah,
it
those Luke's.
Yeah.
And then we didn't even sell it. We didn't.
I've been running it.
Yeah, and we don't even sell it. We didn't even sell it. It was free with a purchase.
Yeah, because even before this tee, it was the anniversary hoodie,
Yeah,
which was almost a year ago already.
yeah, it was a Swarovski one.
Yeah.
And then this year, I have a cool one. It's funny, and I think I already have the tee that I'm gonna do for the giveaway for the 3-year anniversary. I'm gonna do a box logo, and then on the back it's gonna say "Passing the Torch." It's just a
good.
play on
Yeah.
like
good.
that. I believe that we could potentially be like a Supreme type brand. So I already have the idea, and then obviously Skinny already mocked it up. So it's gonna be good. And again, it's gonna be a play on where I'm not gonna use the likeness of a box logo to sell it. I'm just gonna give it out if we do a party or the day of or whatever, But I think it's a cool, funny shirt where I'm just like, I don't need to sell this. We make 60 of them for the people that show up to a party or something, or
Whoever's there.
whoever's there. But it's pretty cool. I thought it was a funny idea.
No, it is. That is actually.
Yeah, and then I have like for the new hat that we're doing at the podium, the next one that I just submitted, I have a whole collection for it. And again, it's same thing. If they can do it, sick. If they can't, fuck, another collection that goes into the email and just stays there for whenever I could find somebody to actually do the way I wanted it to be done. That's another thing. It's just like there's certain things that I like will print and I'll be like, it doesn't look good. I'm not gonna put it out.
Yeah, and that's another thing. People don't see that either. Of like, again, going back to the trial and error where not everyone can do everything that's envisioned, and being able to find a way to do it to where you're not just putting it out like forcefully.
Yeah, like our homie, when he came with these,
Yeah.
he's like, I could do anything. And I was just like, because obviously it's a lot of places here don't embroider on the brim.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it's just a patch that goes on top of the brim.
They usually iron it on.
Yeah, no, it's not even iron. It's still embroidery, but the way that he told me is just like, it's a material and they embroider the material and then they go on top.
Oh, it's kind of like
a
how they
sheet.
pre-make the brim.
Yeah.
And then they just add
Yeah,
it.
so-
Like, that's why the brims are usually 2 layers.
So when he came and he was like, I could do anything, I was like, I have a hat that takes a lot of anything.
Yeah. if you
So
could
I
do
sent it to him and he was just like, bro, this one's hard. and then he sent me the samples and I was like, yeah, he did it.
Yeah.
Sick. Because a lot of people were tweaking. Because most hats out here, when they do something on the brim, they screen print on top of it. Because a
yeah.
lot of factories don't have the embroidery.
The machine.
Yeah, the
to do
machine
that.
to embroider or the time, I would say. But
Yeah.
because even when I went to the factory where we do all our merch, they were like, yo, like, who did that hat for you?
No shit.
And I was just like, oh, one of my homies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I could see that too, because like it's just like anything else, if you embroider on like a t-shirt or like just other parts of a certain hat, you're gonna see where it's pressed in to where like
Yeah.
it's gonna fuck up the shape of wherever you embroidered it on. So it needs to be done a specific way so it doesn't look like fucked up.
Yeah, and that's another thing too that I think even like the homies that do our manufacturing here,
Mm-hmm.
they like that like I'm not a know-it-all with it. Like, I'm like, yo, can you do this? Can you do this? Like, and I'm always like, I'm telling them like, yo, like, what can you do? Or like learning how does that process get done?
Yeah.
So they kind of like that I'm asking all these questions because they're like, oh, like, you're not going to be like, oh, I know how to do it all. And I'm like, right, I don't. I'm still learning, you know?
Yeah, everything's still still learning as you go and venturing onto trying different things to make. Like you learn too, like as you
Yeah,
go,
and then
like,
I
oh,
even
shit.
know when to like with them when to like throw bigger projects at them because I just pay attention to the warehouse. If they're not busy, I'll be like, all right, bet. Like they have time right now.
Because you see what they got going
Yeah.
on when you go and everything.
Yeah, like right now it's a little slower. They told me, and I was just like, all right, bet. Good to know.
Yeah.
Little break. Now we're back into it. But yeah, I mean, just continue staying focused. A lot more branding, but still very like picky. I feel like a lot more quality, and more quantities, too, of that same thing, and then just keeping it like consistent is gonna be the big goal.
Yeah, because I mean, again, even now, like after being here for the time we've been here, like we talked about earlier, people expect certain things, and it's cool because it's like, you know, you never expect that other people expect you to do something, but it's tight, and it's fucking just keeping the ball rolling. And
Yeah, it's all consistency at the end of
Yeah.
the day, and I think people are slowly realizing that they were consistent, and that it's not like a front or it's not like, oh, they're fake about it. It's like, bro, like,
what you see is what you get.
yeah, it's like with the store. One thing I do like about the store is that we have an identity. A lot of people like struggle with that.
Mm-hmm.
And and that's like no jab at anybody, but it's just like at the end of the day, I do what I want, what I like. And that's kind of like goes with everybody in here. It's just like we're ourselves. There's no like dancing around. There's no nothing. It's just, you know, like you come to Syndicate, you come to like a playhouse of like sneaker nerds or streetwear enthusiasts. Like, yeah, it's like at the end of the day, it's just a giant hobby that we kind of could relate with everybody.
Yeah, most definitely. And that's one thing that I think also keeps the people that come back feeling comfortable to come back, because we get people every week that, which I think is cool too, where they'll follow up with us like, oh, how are you doing with this? Or like same thing, we follow up with them when they tell us something. And it's just understanding like we're not robots, just like like we're all like, you know, people just like y'all. And like, yeah, it's just like, it's cool.
No, I think that's what another thing that people do like is that we aren't robots, or we're not too cool. We're not, you know, like nothing. We're just regular ass. Like I'm just a regular ass person, literally.
Yeah.
Like I like video games. I like running. I like working out. I like eating in and out. Literally, there's nothing to it, you know. Like
It's simple.
yeah, I'm a very simple person, and I think that also But I also like really cool things.
Same.
Yeah. So I think that a lot of people feel like, all right, you know, we can get behind this. And they're not even behind this. It's just more like we could be a part of this. And I think that's a big thing, is like people feel a part of it. They're not like, oh, we're supporting it. We're supporting ourselves in a way.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you know, like I was telling Gonzo, Cindy Fit's going on a year next month, you know, and that shit, again, like that shit is hard, bro. Like being consistent for a year, every Monday, pretty much every Monday, and actually working out. Like me and Rob always send each other the memes of like, run clubs are dating, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, if you come to Cindy Fit, bro, we'll work your ass out.
Like
it's a genuine workout. Like I think like a lot of people don't see it. So, you know, like Rob always says that Gonzo's a pro athlete, and I take what he's telling me like to heart. Like where I'm like, yo, like look at this motherfucker. Like
it's like
the results are there.
Preach, yeah.
So like and again, like a lot of the people that go there, we're all friends, or like, and then there's a lot of new people, but I don't take it for granted that we're getting trained by a semi-pro, sometimes pro athlete, you know? Like, I'm just like, yo, like, some people charge an arm and a leg for this type of shit, you know?
Yeah, facts.
And obviously, Gonzo does offer that, but, you know, he's been, like, kind enough to be like, yo, this is my thing, too, you know?
Yeah, and be, like, also him being consistent with it. And
oh, yeah,
wanting to
bro,
be a part
he's
of
fucking
it.
mad consistent. This man will be out on a weekend, and then he'll still show up to Cindy Fit off the flight, you know? Like, and I never take that for granted, and I think the consistency of that has been really good. Like, I tell people that come in there, there's first timers that tell me like, yo, my mile's at 11. Like, I feel intimidating when I see like your guys' runs. And I'm like, bro, people that have come here, they started at 11. They're at 8, 9, you know? The other week, we were doing one-on-one splits, and Jake, he's like slightly a little heavier than me, but he's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Because he hoops with us. So I told him like, yo, keep up with me on this lap. And he kept up with me, I would say 3/4, and then he gave out, but I just kept going. And then when he finished, I'm like, bro, you were running at a 6-minute pace.
Yeah.
But you didn't think that. You were just like, let me keep up with Briss. Like, you weren't thinking
Like, oh, I'm going at this rate.
Yeah.
You're just running.
And then I was like, and that's something to be proud of. Like, you showed that for 3/4 of the lap, you were fucking
on the same pace.
on the same pace.
Yeah.
And then after, he was just like, yeah, I ran my fastest mile that I've done so far. And I'm like, yeah, you know, but you didn't. It's about challenging yourself. To me, it's just like, all right, cool, I have to keep up with Gonzo, which is fucking hard. But, you know, like, if, in my head, I'm like, all right, if I can do that. But yeah, so to me, it's always funny when like me and Rob send each other those memes. And I'm like, bro, it's like, I don't talk to nobody. You know, I say hi to everybody. I was just like, and Gonzo leads and we pay attention. And everybody pays attention, bro. And it's cool. So to me, it's just like, damn, like we're getting, yeah, you know, we started around the same time as most of the run clubs. But I think another big thing is we started naturally.
Yeah.
I hit up Gonzo and I was just like, yo, bro, I want to get faster. And he's like, all right, let's pull up to the track. And then people were like, yo, I want to come. And that's how it happened.
Yeah, and it being all organic, like, bro, like nothing's forced. Because yeah, sometimes like not to knock nobody, you see run clubs, and I get it, it's a social gathering at the same time, but it's like they're not even really running. It's kind of just like everybody's jogging and.
No, yeah, this fool Gonzo be pushing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everybody pushes each other. I feel like everybody there, like, they get it too. You know, they're like, we're here for a workout, which is sick.
Yeah, it's cool and funny when like people that go to the track and come in and start like, oh, I'm still sore from fucking Monday.
Yeah,
and
bro.
everything,
When we
and
do
you hear
lunges,
it. Yeah.
doing lunges for technically almost 200 meters, that shit ain't no joke. I'd be sore from Monday all the way to Thursday.
Yeah, shit's very humbling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, going back to it, it's the consistency where I'm just like, fuck, like it's been a year already for that subdivision of Cindy, I would say. Like, even Friday hoops, we've been pretty consistent for almost a year too now, where I'm just like, fuck, like, you know, and it's just another thing where it's an outlet of me and just everybody in the store expressing themselves. Like, again, we like fitness, we like basketball. A lot of our homies right now that aren't into soccer, they're getting into soccer because I tell people, I'm like, that's my number one sport. Like,
yeah.
watching it is like, I like that more than basketball, American football, and baseball, obviously. So they're just like, oh, what team do I pick? And I'm like, bro, just watch, you know, like, and I feel like and I feel like with the Euros, same thing. The Euros was a good time to start watching it, where you're just like, bro. And again, you know, so a lot of people, like Lamine Yamal, the 16-year-old, a lot of people are gonna get into him because he fucking crushed the Euros. So they're gonna see, oh, he plays for Barcelona. Let me root for Barcelona. Yeah,
his
exactly.
Games. Yeah.
So that's how it always happens, I would say.
What's up with that one dude that was he 14 years old? That's in the MLS.
Oh, the new guy. Me and Rob were talking about how like everybody's gonna start to try to push like this new young thing just because of what Lamar did. Yeah. Bro, this Yamal is he's a beast. You know, like he has God-given talent in a way. But I get it. You know, there is obviously no knock on nobody. But we were talking about how like out of nowhere, after Yamal, we started seeing. It's always happened, but now like the obviously social media and all that stuff, they're pushing 14-year-old kid, blah blah blah. And I saw the guy, he did it. What I thought was cool, I don't know his name, and I'm sorry. He plays on the same team as his brother.
Oh shit!
And I think his brother ended up scoring in that game, and it was cool. The brother scored, and then the little brother
his first game and
made his debut.
Yeah.
So that was sick, you know. But we were talking about back and forth how like we started seeing on our social media, maybe we were paying attention more.
Yeah.
Like 14, 16, 17, but it's cool, you know, like.
Yeah, because in Europe and like everywhere but the U.S.,
they started young. Pulisic, when he got onto the scene, he was super young. And the crazy thing is that I feel like I've seen Pulisic. Sorry if I'm saying his fucking name wrong, but Captain America. I feel like I've seen this man for like 10 years almost. Yeah. And he's only 24.
That's crazy.
But he's been fucking
Messing with the pros and
golden child
everything.
for America
Yeah.
for so long, and I'm just like, fuck, this was only 24.
Holistic, right?
Yeah,
Oh, there it
yeah.
is. Yeah.
He's only 24, and I was like, bro, I feel like I've watched him grow up, literally.
Yeah, no, and I think right now, especially, I feel like even like just the U.S. is pushing soccer more because they're like
Oh, the
playing
World
catch
Cup,
up. And,
bro.
yeah,
The fucking shit that happened at Hard Rock Stadium was crazy.
yeah.
The
that
stadium
wa-
almost fucking burnt down.
fucking
Well, literally.
pandemonium.
Yeah, but you know,
Should've gone.
yeah. Nah, I would have been pissed, bro. I would have been so
shit's-
mad.
bro. That
Would
shit
you-
seems stressful.
What
Like,
time would you have left to go to the stadium? You would have left early?
Doors open.
Not
When they were-
early enough.
Yeah,
See.
when doors open. It didn't happen as much, but when Messi played LAFC for the first time, obviously
Yeah.
was the way I got the tickets.
bruh.
I wanted to be there first to make sure my fucking ticket scanned, you know?
Yeah, like I'm already in here.
Yeah, but-
uh,
But same thing, I was just like, after my friend was there at that game, it wasn't obviously what it was for the Hard Rock Stadium, but he was just like, bro, it was fucking packed.
Shit
And obviously
show.
it was packed because it was Messi, but I was like, bro,
Yeah.
I've been here since 4. The game started at 7. We were literally camping out.
bro, that's a crazy. Like,
Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's consistency.
yeah. Consistency will take you a long way, even when like you might not think that you got something going on, but as long as you're consistent and like, bro, like you just got to put in the work. There's so much work that gets put in by so many different people that's just not shown. Like, you can't just look at what you see like online
Yeah, like
and think that like everything just happens overnight.
some of my friends and peers are like, "Oh, you're so lucky," and I'm just like, "Bro, I'm not lucky. I wish I was lucky," but they're just like, they're like, you're doing what you love," and I was just like, "Yeah, but it's hard work.
Yeah, it does.
It's literally hard work. You know, like, yeah, we're bullshitting, but you don't see the actual work that goes in because I'm not a guy to post victories at all. Like,
Same.
I hate that shit. Like, not like hate it, but I'm just like, you know what? I got more work to do, you know? Like, to me,
Yeah.
like, I'll never give myself that pat in the back or anything. I'll just be like, what's next?
It's part of the
what's next?
cycle.
Yeah,
Like,
because to me, if I ruled the world, everybody would be jobless. Not like I just
I know what you mean.
like,
Like,
hey, bro, we're just gonna enjoy our lives, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna
money isn't a thing.
when
like,
money isn't
yeah,
real.
yeah.
We plant food. We fucking we eat good steaks. You know, we pick berries.
Just
you know,
the
just as
simplicity
the
of it
simplest
all.
life that you can
Yeah.
have, like a farmer's life. Like
Yeah.
but like everybody, I don't know. Again, this is just me fucking talking bullshit. But yeah, to me, it's like I wouldn't want anybody to work, but we have to work.
It's part of the cycle.
It's part of the cycle. You're just
Yeah.
having fun with it. But yeah, I think that's gonna be, to me, what's gonna separate us from everybody else. That we're not like copy and paste. We're our own identity.
Yeah, and even just like it sounds petty, but if seeing things go a certain way, going in a different direction,
Oh yeah,
like that's a big
all the
thing
time,
too.
bro.
And
Like,
being able to do that, because not everybody could do that.
and that's like, I think another big thing that I would say makes us a little lucky is that I'm so into so many things. Like, I'm not just like one trick pony. Like, oh, I like this and that's it. Like, bro, like I'm a nerd about so many things that people don't even see, and I think that's also helps the branding. That there's so many avenues that I can go to, and it'll hit because I have the explanation of why I'm doing it. It's not just like,
It's not just copy paste.
Yeah.
There's intent and there's actual
Yeah.
like thought behind things that are done.
yeah, a little bit. At the end of the day, sometimes I'm just like, I think this looks cool. But yeah, I think, again, we like sneakers. Like I said in the last pod, some people are too cool to wear sneakers, or they're like, oh, sneakers are lame because regular people wear them. And it's like, brother, it's a pair of shoes.
I was very appreciative of all the feedback we got from the last, the pod from 2 weeks ago with the being retro, like how the pros and cons, the people that
A lot of
enjoy
people,
it.
a lot of people were for retros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's like we talk about, bro. If you really like the shoes, you're gonna want to wear them. And I mean,
Doesn't matter the price.
Exactly, and it's just like the only thing I think, like obviously we talk about it sometimes, is like we have a gripe with the brands is because it doesn't seem like they're trying or they don't put thoughts into doing certain things. It's kind of just like, all right, yeah, I get it. You guys are trying to make money, but like it doesn't mean that you can't make money without putting some thought
And
into
being open
releases.
and being open to change. I
Yeah.
think that's like, I've gotten this since I came back from New York, and I've lost a lot of, I don't want to say lost, but I've passed through a lot of friends. when people tell me like, damn, you changed, and I'm like, I grew. I didn't change. I grew, you know, like it's you, like, I feel like even it happens like with even some of like my relatives where I'm just like, I'm not the same person that left in 2016, 17, whatever's, you know, if I would have been the same person that I left,
Yeah.
that would have been a fucking failure. Like that, look, straight up, like
No,
New York
it's
would have been a
true,
failure.
yeah,
Like if I
it's
would have came
true.
back being the same fucking idiot that I was, and I mean, I'm still an idiot, but I feel like a lot of people see you changing, but they see it as like change instead of growing.
They
Which
take
is-
offense to it, which is weird. And I mean, whatever. Like but it's a thing where it's like that's part of life. You go through experiences that you're still the core person you are inside, but it doesn't mean that things that you go through in your life don't help you grow or go in a certain direction that you weren't at if you didn't go through all these things.
Oh yeah, and again, it's just like they didn't see. If it wasn't for Riff, Round 2, District 1, all the people that I met, all like, you know, friends, Syndicate wouldn't be here, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's one thing that people forget. Like, if it wasn't for all these little steps, it wouldn't be able to get put down, you know? Like, I feel like my brain expanded so much in the last 10 years compared to me being stuck here. That's why when people ask me, like, yo, should I move? I'm like, bro, get the fuck out of here. Go leave. Like, Julian,
Yeah.
I tell him, like, yo, bro, like, don't look back.
The thing
Literally, don't look back. If I was still looking back at all my friends, I'd have FOMO.
Bro.
You had to cut that out.
Yeah.
FOMO from like all the like the petty things, you know, like, and I'm just like, I don't want to do that no more, you know.
No, for sure. I learned that too. Fucking well, the first time when I left to Texas and that's why like I wasn't like hesitant on leaving again to New York because like as much as like certain things changed while I was gone, like, bro, at the end of the day, it's like being from here, it's home, and the core things were all still the same, man. Like, not to knock nobody, a lot of people were still doing the same thing. Where it's just like, bro, like
I told Jared that shit when I
Yeah.
came back, when he came back here. When he was having trouble, sorry, Jared, but he was telling me like, yo, I'm having trouble. Like, I don't know if I should go, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
or
And I'm
stay
like,
here.
bro, how old are you? And he was, I think at this point he was 30, 29 maybe. And I was just like, bro, if you're still getting contracts, max it out.
Yeah,
And I
take
was just like,
advantage.
come home, take your kid, come see your kid. And I was just like, your homies, the girls, the going out, it's all
always
gonna
there.
be there, bro. It's
Yeah.
all still gonna be there. And I was like, the faces might change, but it's still gonna be there. And if that's what you're gonna miss, I was just like, I told him, I was like, bro, keep hooping till you can't hoop no more, till you
Yeah.
can't get no more contracts.
You gotta take advantage because at the end of the day, like certain things do have a time limit or expiration
Oh
date.
yeah, and I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
you're still youthful, you're still talented, like, go for it. And low key, he told me, he was like, when he came back from the second set, he was like, bro, you're right. And I was just like, yeah. And now he's like, I be inside most of the time or with my kid, and I'm like, see, I
Exactly,
told you, bro.
yeah.
Like, I literally told you, when you look at certain things a certain way, you're gonna realize that it's all gonna be there.
Yeah, it always is, especially like the going out or like the partying. And most of the time, you see the same people there doing the same thing at all the times, and it's like, all right, whatever, if that's your thing, that's cool. But like the point is, like, it's always gonna be there.
No, yeah,
and,
it's
like
to
you should
grow.
never feel like, oh damn, like I'm missing out, because I promise
Yeah.
you that same thing's gonna be the same thing next week.
Yeah, like a lot of people, I think I never forget where I came from, which is a big thing. And I think that's why I do fucking Cindy Fit and Downey. That's why I still hang out with the same friends. And again, some of them, you cut them off. Well, not even cut them off. You just outgrew them. And that's okay, you know?
Yeah, no, that's very real.
Yeah, like same thing. Like I still wash my car at the same spot that I always wash my old cars.
Yeah,
I still cut my hair with my same barber. Like I still do all these things that, yeah, I've changed, but you know, I still support these people, you know, like the car wash that I go, I grew up with the girl that her parents own it, and then now the husband runs the
shit.
car wash, and I'm just like,
That's
oh,
dope.
sick, you know, like my barber, I've been cutting my hair for him for fucking who knows how long, you know, and we used to hoop together. We still hoop together here and there, but yeah, it's just never forgetting where you're from, but also not being scared to change. And I think a lot of people, you're trying to grow, but you're not gonna let yourself grow if you don't understand that it's gonna come with change.
yeah, you got to be willing to take a chance of
Yeah.
the discomfort or like something not being guaranteed.
Yeah, even me, like I'm just like, you know, I kind of like I've been looking up like how much does it cost to move here? How much do I need to move here? And I'm just like, you know, I might do it. Because at the end of the day, I saw something where it's just like, for example, I'm 32 right now. I'm like, at 60, I'll probably regret that I couldn't do what I could have done at 32.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, maybe I should think about it like that and be like, all right, I'm going to do something that it might fuck me up or it might be the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, but you'll never know if you don't try it.
Yeah, and then at 60, I'll be like, fuck, I should have done it. You know, like.
No, for sure.
But yeah, I think a lot of people, especially for me, always see that and they see it as change. And I'm just like, I see it as growth. But, you know, again, it's all perspective.
No, it is. And sometimes, like, if you've never done it before, sometimes you need to give yourself that kick in the ass or that challenge to push you to a different part of your life because that's the way you keep yourself stimulated too and let yourself know, like, yo.
Oh, yeah, I need change.
Yeah.
That's why I think I appreciated New York so much because, for example, out here, I lived at my mom's house before I left my whole life. Literally my whole life. In New York, I moved every year. I never had the same spot. I would be like, moving was a bitch, but shout out fucking my homies like Dima, Nelson, everybody that would help me move, you know, because I always wanted change. So I'd be like, a year, all right, another apartment. A year, another apartment. And I think I really enjoyed that because I always had something new or something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Like where I was just like, okay, new apartment. So there was no ties to everything. And then even when I ended up buying my house, same thing. I was just like, it just doesn't feel like it's mine. So I was just like, I'm gonna move. And I like renting more because I get to move every year.
Yeah, and like in all honesty, buying a house isn't for everybody. There's a lot, like just not even the cost, just like
I just don't want to be tied down to
space.
something where I feel like tied down to anything where I'm just like, fuck. So I like moving around, and I think that's how it's the same thing with like how we do with sneakers. Like I don't want to own certain shoes forever where I'm like, I'll just replace it and save myself money and get something new.
Exactly. Yeah, it's going with what makes the most sense for you, and understanding that not everybody has the same way of doing things, and that's okay because we're all different.
Yeah, like when people reach out to me for like advice, and I'm like, bro, why are you reaching out to me? Like I don't have any advice, but not like that. But I'm just like, oh damn, that's in my head. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool that you trust me, but it's like, bro, I'm an idiot. But I always tell people, bro, just do what you want. It sounds so cliche, but literally do whatever you want. Like make the mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah, and do them like when you're younger. If you're younger, don't be scared of doing them because you have more time to grow from them and learn from them and bounce back from them.
Yeah, and like for example, like job wise, I've said this to one of like my closer friends back in the day. It's like, bro, like if you make a mistake at a job when you're 29, 30, it's worse than when you're 22 because 22 they're like, oh, he was young, blah blah blah. But at 30, you're a grown ass man doing this stupid mistake. Like it's gonna be hard for you to get that job again, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, it's that's what I told them. I was just like, it's different. You know, when you're 22, you could make a certain mistake, but at 30, you can't make that same mistake because it's gonna cost you more.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Just don't be scared to go out there and do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah, I would say that's my biggest life advice. Do what you want because I do it. Everybody does it. You should do it too. And try not to depend on anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, just try to depend on yourself. But yeah, it's a good way to end it.
Like, comment,
subscribe. See you next week.
Late.